Hello everyone, welcome to this Here For You Spotlight special. Today I get to be joined by Tammy Boucher with Kansas Big Brothers Big Sisters. She is the Regional Development Director. And Tammy, thanks so much for making time today.
Oh, thank you.
I know talking about Big Brothers Big Sisters didn't have to pull too hard to bring you in here today.
No. I've been with Big Brothers Big Sisters for 18 years. So I absolutely love to talk about our program anytime I can. We are Kansas Big Brothers Big Sisters, so we have locations all across the state. We have about 2,000 bigs and littles matches in our state that we serve. And here in Sedgwick County, we serve about 700 kids. And many people know about Big Brothers Big Sisters. We have, I think, a very well-recognized brand.
Yes.
But there are some misconceptions sometimes if people don't quite understand exactly what we do. We are strictly a one-to-one mentoring organization where we have one caring adult youth mentor and then one youth who usually is facing some type of adversity, and they come together and form a relationship that hopefully lasts for years and changes really the little's life forever.
And I know, for those who don't know, I got to join Big Brothers Big Sisters. That was one of the first things I wanted to do once I moved here to Wichita, Kansas. A former KSM reporter talked about how she was a big, and I was like, that sounds amazing. And so I joined, and now I've been with my little for almost 5 years.
Yeah.
So it is really fun to see that. But talking a little bit about that one-on-one mentoring, what kind of difference can that really make for those who aren't familiar? And also, it seems like a big task, but it can be something so simple.
Yes, well, we all probably had some kind of mentor in our lives. Maybe it was a teacher, maybe it was a family member, my grandmother, my parents as well, but my grandmother especially was a big mentor to me. And I've heard so many people say, you know, that teacher of mine in 4th grade really changed my life.
Yeah.
So really, that's the power of mentorship, really. When we look at the kids that we serve, I mentioned that they face adversities. And we talk a lot about the differences that they have, or maybe the adversities that they have. And one of those is many, or probably about 75% of the youth we serve are facing poverty or under the poverty level. But when we talk about poverty, it's not just financial poverty. It's poverty of connection, lack of, resources, lack of community. And, we're 5 years out of COVID, but, there were a lot of things that happened in some of these kids' lives where they just got totally shut off from the world, and we're still kind of recouping some of those things. But it's really just all about the one-to-one relationship. And when we say mentor, the word mentor is so scary to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to be all-knowing and have all the answers or be a counselor or anything like that, because I would never be able to participate in that. But really being a big just means being a friend to a youth and making a difference in their lives.
Yeah, and so actually last January, I think it was, I got to do a story specifically highlighting Big Brothers Big Sisters, and at the time you guys had just started a new partnership with the Wichita Fire Department and getting some of those matches. So we're going to take a look at that story actually right here, but I think it kind of just shows how simple these one-on-one mentorships can be, but make such a big impact. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that right now. Welcome back. A mentor can be life-changing for kids. In Sedgwick County, over 200 kids are waiting for that role model. Photojournalist Nick Kiefer and I shine the Here For You spotlight on Big Brothers Big Sisters. Bonding over board games.
Back here. This is the game that I lose at every week.
Every Wednesday, Joshua Pavelski with the Wichita Fire Department visits Jackson. Big Brothers Big Sisters match this duo together.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hesitant to do it at first. I wasn't sure what I was getting into, but it's one of those things that I look forward to every week.
The The nonprofit pairs children in adversity with mentors from the community.
75% of our kiddos come to us living at or below the poverty level.
I thought you were going to fill that all in with brown.
There is a major need for male bigs.
About 70% of our wait list are little boys.
The organization recently partnered with WFD to help.
The leadership has said, if you get matched, we are going to make sure that you have the time within your workday to go and be with your little.
I get to come here and spend a one-on-one time with him, have lunch, and just talk about, to him it's just kid stuff that he wants to know.
Face-to-face interaction can inspire change.
I want to know what you think, what you feel, what are you interested in, and how can we use that, or how can you use it to achieve success in your life?
It's very rewarding, not just for him, but for me too.
Making meaningful memories in the process.
Hey, I won.
Every time.
So you can sign up to be a big online. We'll have a link to do so on ksn.com, but there is a 1-year commitment.
And a special.
And so we got to do that. Got a little sneak peek of Eddie too, who's now in a different market, but still supports here for you. And Big Brothers Big Sisters. He was at our For Kids Sake bowling event last year.
That's right. That's right.
So, but just seeing a glimpse of that, it is something as simple as spending time over a board game or just sharing a lunch that can really help solidify these bonds. And sometimes, like you mentioned, people are a little intimidated. So what does it really take to be a big? Because the time commitment really isn't that much.
No, it's not. And that's going to be the number one reason people say they can't be a big right now. They're going to say, oh, I just don't have time, or my kids are little, or I just have so many I travel for work. Well, we totally realize that, and we would not have any volunteers if we were really strict about the time and made you check boxes on when you were mentoring and when you weren't, and how many times you had to do it. So we are very, very flexible in that realm. There are two different types of matches. We have a community-based match and a school-based match. The community-based match is basically, it means you can take your little out into the community and hang out, go to the park, do fun things together. You don't have to plan anything special. You can just bring them along with what you're already doing. And really, that's all the kids want. They just want to spend time with you.
Yeah.
When you are a community-based big, you can be an individual big like yourself, or we have a couples match or a family match. And the family match and the couples match are really cool options too, because you can bring your little into your family and invite them to do things with your family. And it's not only great and advantageous for the little, but also for your kids as well. They get to meet a new friend and see a different perspective of life and form that bond too. When you are a community-based big, there is a home visit that you do, because you are able to take your little to your house. And so we want to make sure, obviously, that it's a safe place to be. And we don't do a white glove test or anything like that. Otherwise, I would fail. But yeah, it's just, a safety check. We have background checks, references, all of those things, because obviously safety is very important. But being a community-based big, you are just going to spend a few hours a month with your little, really. And it's on your schedule. You work with your little and your little's parent or guardian, and you figure out the times that are going to work best for you and the activities that you do. When you're first matched with your little, we want you to build that relationship. And so we want you to probably be a little more consistent, a little more, meet a little more often. But there is a fine line. We don't want you to meet too much as well, because we don't want the little to be disappointed when you can't keep up that pace forever. So it's just really a few hours a month on your schedule. When you are a school-based match, you are meeting just in the school. And so there's no, we do background checks, but there's no home visit, obviously, because you're just connecting at school. I was a school-based big. My little recently moved, so I'm excited to get back into that next year. My little came from a really awesome family, a military family, but mom had some pretty severe health issues. And so when I was matched with my little, she was 6 and her little sister was 5. And her mom, dealing with this, serious illness, she did not know how to handle that. She didn't know what it was. She didn't know what it meant. So that was her adversity, and I was just there to kind of lighten her load and be a friend for her. And so I would go see her. Wednesdays worked for me, and so I would go see her over her lunch hour, and I would hang out with her. I have 2 boys, and my husband, and then my dog is a boy. I mean, house full of boys. I wanted a girl, so this is my girl time. And we made bracelets together and jewelry. She loved pipe cleaners and anything painting or anything like that. And so she was so excited when I got to school. She would jump into my arms and give me a big squeezy hug, and she would show me off. And, everybody wanted to come sit with us, and I had to turn everybody away and say, no, this is just my time with Amelia. This is just our one-on-one time together. So that is super easy too. We typically ask that you do that once a week, but really it's the minimum of 2 times a month once you get your relationship established. So a couple times a month is really not that hard to just slip away on your lunch hour. A lot of companies offer time for their employees to go do that, and if they don't, we'd be happy to visit with them, and they're usually very amenable to that. So it's just super, super easy. So yeah, people need to maybe reconsider once they know how easy it is, how that could fit into their schedule.
And I also think one of the really interesting parts that I found out once I got involved with the organization is the matching process. You guys have such it's almost like a matchmaking service in a sense.
Yes.
I remember filling out questions to see like what my interests were and just what I was looking for in a little, and then you guys came back with these 3 matches or 3 potential matches that could work, and I got to pick my little. But can you talk a little bit about these?
It's pretty cool. You're exactly right. I always joke and say we were like the original Match.com, but for mentoring. And we not only get to know you and what your personalities are like, but we get to know the little as well. When we enroll them, we have anywhere from 200 to 400 kids at a time on the wait list. And when they come in and they request services from us, which are totally free, by the way, it does not cost the family anything, they are given kind of a little interview so we can get to know them. Are they super shy? Do they like sports, or do they like to read and do more quiet activities? And we do the same with you, because it's like a friendship. You're not going to last with a friend if you don't have things in common, or you want to be able to hang out and do things that you both enjoy. So we sit down with you and we find out what's your personality like, and what do you like to do? Do you have any adversities that you don't feel comfortable working with, that kind of thing.
And that's one of I like how you said it, you want that relationship to be able to last, because if it's successful, and then you just really can form, it's not a chore. And one of the things that because there's times, I love my little, we've been matched for almost 5 years, but there's days, everyone has it, where you're just feeling a little drained, and you're like, oh, I have to do this, I have to go see Kylie today, but then I know whenever I take that time to go out, and we could do something very simple, go grab coffee somewhere. Well, not coffee. I get coffee. She gets a little other drink, but or just walk around or go to the park. You leave with your cup feeling so much fuller than what you left. And can you talk about, yes, you're donating time, but what do the bigs also get out of this as well?
I tell you, that's the number one thing that probably almost every big that I've visited with afterwards, they say, not only do I think my littles get something out of this, but I feel like I'm getting so much more. They almost feel guilty about it because, they're enjoying it so much and just have a blast doing it. It does. It just fills your cup. I mean, and it's just so easy. You just think, all I did was just spend time with them, and they're so excited to see me. And you can imagine if you have a little who maybe comes from a household, maybe they have a huge family, maybe they've got like 6 kids in the family, mom's working a lot. They don't really get a lot of one-on-one time.
Yeah.
Maybe they're the youngest and they're always kind of, forgotten, or, not forgotten in a negative way, but, life gets busy,
It's busy.
And especially with these families, they're busy working and trying to make ends meet. And so for you just being able to give a little light to them and, attention, that's huge.
And I know there are also sometimes people might think of, well, I can't afford to take a little out. Big Brothers Big Sisters also does a lot of partnerships in the community for like free events, or you guys also plan events to kind of help these matches. Can you talk a little bit about
we
that
do.
Additional work?
Yeah, we don't want to just say, once you're matched, good luck, there you go. We have activities. We do quarterly match activities. for our, all ages, but we also have a teen program that we started this year. And so that's for teens to kind of get together because sometimes they don't want to do what the little kids are doing and they want to do the cooler, older kid stuff.
Yeah.
And so we have that going with some educational components coming as well that will help them with resources on graduation, getting a job, all the things, Adulting 101. But we also have match discounts. We partner with a lot of different companies or businesses throughout the community, and we're able to get discounts for you when you go out with your little. You can go to Chick-fil-A and your little can eat free if you show them your blue card. You can go to Sedgwick County Zoo. You can go to Botanica, just lots of different fun things. And we have a community page with lots of things too. The other thing is we have a game night once a month. We are now in Delano. We've been in Delano for 3 years, and we have the most wonderful event space on our second floor. And we're able to actually host all of our matches, and they can come and hang out with us once a month. It's just really casual. We serve dinner. We have board games, lots of different things that they can do. And we usually have an activity. The last one that was so fun, they did Shrinky Dinks. Do you remember Shrinky Dinks?
Okay, so I was meeting with my match specialist, I think maybe it was a month or so ago, and she was telling me about this. I had never heard of it.
Yeah. It's so funny. Some people have, I'm older than you, but yeah, I love Shrinky Dinks.
She was saying it's like she showed me a picture of it.
And then you melt, and you can make shapes. We did little keychains, I think, where the big had like one half and the little had the other half.
That is so cute.
So they were matching, and they were super cute. But yeah, we do different activities. We've done cookie decorating. We've done bracelet making. We've done painting. We did a self-defense class one time that was really cool. So yeah. That's really fun.
And obviously, if someone can be a big, we know there's so many littles waiting to kind of find that match. Where are there certain age groups are like, do you need more male bigs right now than female bigs?
Well,
or is it a wide range of everything?
It's a wide range of everything. Yeah, first of all, we serve kids who are age 5 through 25. So we enroll kids who are about age 5 through 17, and with the hope that, the longer that they'll stay. As a big, we just ask you that you commit to 1 year.
Yeah. But
really, you've been matched for 5 years. Even if you say I want to be matched for 1 year, but then time goes by and you're like, oh my gosh, this is just so much fun. Why would I stop? The average match length for us is about 36 months. So, we've got about 200 to 400 kids at any given time on our wait list. And there are many, many more who are waiting to be on the wait list. We just don't want to enroll them and get their hopes up.
Yeah.
Because we're not a first come, first serve, next in line, you're matched. We've got to have the volunteers, and that's really the biggest holdup, I guess, of getting those kids matched. And so that's why we constantly need more bigs. Women tend to volunteer more. It's just, I guess, in our nature. But we have many, many male bigs as well. But yes, most of the kids on our wait list are boys, just because men don't volunteer nearly as much. So it's always a mix. We also need, we always need girls enrolled because we have so many female bigs looking to match. But it's just going to always be there. I think we would love to say we don't need any more bigs because we don't have any kids to serve, but unfortunately that's not been the case, and so we'll always have that need there.
And I know signing up can be as simple. Where should people go? I was going to have you kind of walk us through. Here's the website.
Yes, you're going to go to kansasbigs.org, and you'll see a couple of things at the top there. You can enroll your youth. Again, I said we're especially looking for girls. We try to make sure that our kids don't sit on the wait list long, but some of them can sit there for a couple of years, or may not get matched just because we haven't had the right volunteer come through. But if you want to become a big, you're going to click here. And you're going to go to the page. It's going to show you information on, what it means to hang out, with a little, what it means to be a big, just sharing your interests, what you could do, the simple things, offering your own experience, talking about your life experience, and just really giving that connection of being a friend, being ready to listen, and just encouraging your little as they go through everything. Resources for bigs, we talked about the match options like the community-based and the school-based. If you don't feel like you're ready to be a big right now, but you may know somebody who you think would be awesome, we would love you to refer to us. That doesn't mean we're going to go and hound them and they're going to be on our mailing list forever and we're going to bother them until they say yes. We absolutely do not want you to be a big if your heart is not into it, because that will not make for a good match. So we are never a hard sell, or we're never going to twist your arm. But if you know somebody, that's where you're going to go to refer a big. And we mentioned the match discounts also. There are several here. This is our state website. So obviously you're going to go down to Sedgwick County, and it's going to list all of the places that you can go as a big and do activities with your little at a discount price. Some are free and some are discounted. We also have a community activities page that lists lots of different things, are not necessarily discount, but things to do in the community.
Yeah. Helps inspire you. I know, especially during summertime. Well, not even summertime. It's more wintertime when I'm like, I need some ideas. So I'll go and I'll check that page and see if I can get anything, especially as my little, when we first matched, she was 7. And now she is 12.
So her interests have changed.
Yes, they have a little bit.
That's fun.
But it is fun, and it's fun to watch her grow. And just, I know sometimes when I go to the Big Brothers Big Sisters events, you hear these stories of just people who have had their littles at their wedding or have seen their littles graduate. Is there any specific story that really just like pulls at your heartstrings?
Oh, there's so many, so many. Yes, I mean, obviously, you know, that level of commitment is not expected. It's not like, oh my gosh, once this person is in my life, I'm going to just have to commit until it just naturally develops like that, which is so cool. And we've had many, many littles be in their bigs weddings, stand up with them, be a part of their lives. We have one match, I want to say it's probably 18 years old right now. He works at Spirit, and he was matched with his little when he was very young, and he's pretty much just grown up with his family. And his little is actually getting married now, and he is going to marry them. I believe he has license to marry. He's going to be able to do that for him. So that's very, very special.
So cute. I think one of my friends actually, I didn't realize, well, I forgot they were bigs. Him and his now wife, they did a couples match, and I think their little was actually in their wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Like as a ring bearer or something.
Yeah, that's pretty special. Yeah. It's just very cool. It's how close you become with one another. And again, you know, I did mention that we just asked for 1 year, but average match length in Sedgwick County especially is about 36 months. So, and it usually only ends if the little moves, you know, because a lot of our families do move a lot just for several reasons. But that's usually why the match ends. But there are many more that have just lasted for such a long time. And they say, you know, we're going to be in each other's lives forever, which I think is awesome.
Do you have any words of encouragement? I know we've talked a lot about the difference these matches can make and what it means to bigs, but also littles. Like, what do you think would be your final sell point? Or just like, not sell point, but just, because you mentioned you guys aren't a hard sell. You want people who have their heart in it, but what do you think people really should understand or know?
Well, the piece of advice I would give people, and this didn't come from me, it came from other bigs, and it actually came from a former KSN anchor, Mark Davidson, who is a big. He and his wife are a family match along with their daughter, Andy. He said, just don't overthink it. You know, people look at this and they go through all of the scenarios in their mind, why they can't do it or why they should say no. And it's, you know, once they get into it, they say, oh my gosh, this is so easy and so rewarding. Why didn't I do this a long time ago? So that's probably the biggest piece of advice I would give.
That is, and I remember hearing that, and I kind of forgot it a little bit, but I'm glad for the reminder.
Very true.
Yeah. And then when people sign up, we showed the website of how they can do it. How long does that process typically last now from signing up
to when you're matched? It takes about 30 days. It can take a little bit longer. If you're interested in being a school-based match, right now we're kind of on hold with those because we're in summer. You know, we're not in school.
You're not going to make the kid go.
But we will start matching those school-based bigs and littles in August, so they're ready to go once school starts. And, you know, the time kind of just is dependent more on how soon your references get turned in. We ask for at least 3 references. You know, there's paperwork for you to fill out, that kind of thing, but it's super quick. It doesn't take a long time. But yeah, about 30 days between initial inquiry and match meeting.
And obviously we know, yes, want to see tons of bigs and see those beautiful matches be made. But if you don't have time, you can refer a big. Also, donations for Kids' Sake is
Yes.
just starting to wrap up.
Absolutely. Yeah, For Kids' Sake is our biggest fundraiser for the year. It's been around for over 30 years, and it provides about $400,000 for our local operating budget. It is a statewide event, so other communities are doing it too. But here in
Yeah.
Sedgwick County, it's huge. It really is what helps us serve our kids. And I mentioned that our services are totally free
Yeah.
to our youth. So we've got to find a way to pay for them. We have trained and very professional match support specialists that, you will have walk the walk with you and, walk through your journey of your match. They're there to answer all the hard questions. You don't have to do those things. They're available anytime for you to call at your fingertips. Costs money to do those things. It costs money to do match activities. So yeah, that's what For Kids' Sake is about. We also have a raffle coming up, and we have brouhaha coming up. But just a general donation means so much to us. We're always happy for people to give, and there is a place on our website for you to donate as well. You can donate once, or it could be a recurring donation, or really we just appreciate any support we could get.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tammy, for making time. I know kansasbigs.org, place to go if you're interested in donating, signing up, or even enrolling your child. But any last words?
Just follow us on Facebook too. Our social media, we share a lot of what we do. It might give you kind of an insight into what we're doing. There are a lot of different pages on Facebook because we have so many Kansas Big Brothers Big Sisters, but we are Kansas Big Brothers Big Sisters of Sedgwick County, serving Sedgwick County. So follow us there on Instagram, and really, again, just maybe give it a thought. And if you'd like to hear more, we do an info session. It
Okay.
can last 10 minutes. It could last 30 minutes. It goes into a little more detail about everything that I talked about here. Again, no obligation at all, but you can also go to kansasbigs.org and, request information about that, and we'd love to visit with you.
Awesome. Well, Tammy, thank you again one last time. Kansas Big Brothers Big Sisters, and thank you guys. Have a nice day.